I'm not going to talk about this now. I'm not ready to talk about it, but I promise it just happened, and obviously it's still happening. I'm still graduated from a walker to a cane. I haven't even started physical therapy yet. I got a long fucking year ahead of me. I have to live with blood clots in my lungs. I know a lot of you out there have dealt with this and know how scary that shit is. But it went sideways. I'm here. I'm literally alive. We're going to get into all that in another episode down the line. But the reason I want to say this now is not only because I want to thank everybody, but because, I don't know, it's a weird thing. We recorded right up until Byron Bowers. We recorded, I don't know, probably a few weeks before I went in for surgery, and just had enough episodes to get through what I went through. This is my first time doing a honeydew again. I did do a Patreon because it matters to me. You guys pay for that content, and we have gone just to the wire, so I was able to get one in. But this is my first honeydew back. And like I said, we're going to do a full episode with B in a few weeks, somewhere down the line. I'll tell you the whole story, because there's good shit in there too that's funny that I would never want to keep to myself. But thank you again. I genuinely love doing what I do for a living, and I love this show. I love this community, and so many of you wanted to help out. And I'm telling you, I don't want money for medical bills. I don't want any of that shit. Subscribe to this show. Subscribe to this show. I want to see that number go up, and I want you to tell people about this show, because it matters and it makes a difference. And when you're facing a life and death situation, you start reading the stuff you guys are sending, it resonates even more. So again, thank you. And that's all I'm going to say for now. Now, you guys know what we do over here. I always say we highlight the lowlights. These are the stories behind the storytellers. Very excited to have this guest here today. First time on the Honeydew. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Neil Brennan. Welcome to the Honeydew, Neil Brennan. Can't be here. Can't thank you enough for doing this. Be here. Brian, great to be here. Thank you. Before we get into whatever we're going to talk about, plug and promote everything Neil Brennan. Oh, the big one that I'm going on tour. It's generally, if the city has a good airport. You know what? Amen to that. Not so fast, Charlotte. Not coming. No, we have the chemistry. Asheville, North Carolina. Look, Asheville, I have a shot. Charlotte, tried you twice. We don't got it. No Florida. You got a good airport. You don't got any Neil Brennan fans. And no Ohio. I could have done Columbus. 20 cities that I'm interested in that are interested in people. Approval and fraction. And so that starts in March. I think there's still in Nashville. There's still some tickets. LA. We go in there right.com. And I got a podcast based on my Netflix special called Blocks, which started streaming a couple months ago. Where it's called Blocks because it's the thing that makes me feel like something's the matter with me. Emotional, mental blocks. And so Jim and Carr had the idea wanting to talk about their blocks and a few people in common to this podcast. No one. But I've had Letterman, Dave Letterman's first guest. I'm a fan. I watch Letterman, Sebastian, Bobby, Nikki Glazer, Kelly Thompson, Trentino, Ronnie Chang, and I'm doing Schultz and a bunch of people like stuff. Good stuff. Good people. Well, you always take chances, and I like that. I like the 3 mics. I like the way you craft your craft. I'm a fan of that part. You know, a lot of people just get up there and do it, which is also great. You know, but I love the. But if I did that, I would have come in 50th. You know what I mean? I hear you. Sure, I could name a bunch of people that are just better at extemporaneously doing stand-up. So it's like, all right, well, I could come in, I don't know if it's 50th, but I could place, or I could do my own thing and win because no one else is doing it. That's what I try to do. I'm just going to stay in my own lane over here and try to be the best in this lane. Yep. So let's talk about it because I, like I said, I've been a fan of yours. I appreciate what you're doing over there with the mug to us tonight. What am I doing? putting it on the coast.
Yeah, and
I don't even know if it is
for audio.
It is now. It's nice.
I'm a fan, and I know that going back, you were an atheist for a while, which I am. I grew up Catholic, you know, and that took care of that.
Yep.
You know, my grandmother
Hypocrisy school.
Yes, very religious into Catholicism. One of our aunts was a nun, great aunt. When I say these are the older ladies in the family, but yeah, it turned me off too.
That'll do it.
It's all it took.
Yeah.
Like, honest to God. And I know I say that not jokingly, but just listening to their message and then watching what they do. I don't understand how it's even still a thing.
I had a friend that was Muslim, and he used to make such a big deal about not eating pork, but he'd smoke weed and he'd drink. And finally, I was like, "Hey, stop patting yourself on the back for not eating pork because you do all this other shit, and it makes the whole religion look stupid." And he was like, "Thank you, Barrett. That's a good note. Thanks for saying that." But with Catholics, there's so many rules.
It's easy to put a pork sandwich down.
Yeah, exactly.
Can
There's
you stop
so
fucking
many
kids?
goddamn rules. I mean, there's so many you can't. People can take a little bit of repression, but it can't all be repression. And it's anything that you're force-fed, you're just gonna reject at a certain point.
Of course.
Once you get the option, you're gonna fuck this. I'm not doing this shit.
All these
why?
good
Because I didn't
things that
choose it in the first
right.
place.
All these good things that are actually, some of them are good for you.
Yeah.
So let's talk about it because you had an EMT experience.
Well, yeah. The wind up.
What's your upbringing? What is your religious
Catholic
upbringing?
school.
Catholic
12 years.
Oh, you actually went to Catholic school?
Yeah.
Altar
Altar
boy. I
boy.
didn't have to do that. I did the Sunday school though.
No.
So you're baptized,
Fuck, I was
confirmed,
like,
and communion.
did you?
You've
Do
got all
you do
the paperwork.
stand up once a month?
It was weekly.
Yeah, no, I know, but it's like guys who do it once a
You're
month.
allowed
Like,
to
oh yeah, I do comedy. Yeah,
You did
once a
12
month.
years of it. You went
Yeah, man.
elementary. Oh man. See,
Yeah.
The guys I know that went to Catholic school were high school. You know what I mean? You went from
I got 13 years of education, 12 of it Catholic. Yeah. So Catholic school, altar boy, church, mass, kneeling, all that shit.
Oh, you were also involved in it too, like that. You had to do altar boy stuff as well.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah. And I was I believe, you just want to be good. You want to, what will win this? How do I win this? So you just go, I believe in it. If you don't know what you're saying, you don't even know what you're talking about. And then I'd say in my 20s, I was like spiritual. And then I drove out here.
Well, wait, let me ask you this. What shifted? When did you finally let go of religion and shift spirit? And were you scared?
I was in my 20s. I moved to New York and was involved in comedy. I wasn't going to go to mass. You know what I mean? I wasn't wearing a crucifix. I wasn't going to just like, what? So you just slowly, then I read like The Alchemist when you're 25. Legally you have to. And like then that was sort of like, I was kind of into that.
Were you scared? Were you scared to fully let it go? This belief that there's this
Yeah.
other thing? Me too,
I mean,
for a while.
kind of, yeah.
But you know what I found out later? I was more scared in retrospect of getting rid of my home phone in favor of only a cell phone than I was letting Catholicism finally go. I really was. I had more anxiety about
terrible home phone. I don't know. So I just got security what will I do with my fingers? What will I wrap my fingers around? So what will I throw when I lose a bet?
Yeah, right.
So what about I don't want to snap something after a medical diagnosis. I want to fucking
slam that motherfucker down.
I was in there, and then around 32, I drive out here to direct a movie, and I listen to the Christopher Hitchens book, God Is Not Great.
I read that book.
the book on tape is hilarious because Christopher Hitchens has perfect smug British diction.
Yeah, he does.
It's fucking outstanding.
I never listened. I was introduced to him for real time.
Yeah.
And I remember him saying, like, if he got sick and died, I think it was dementia maybe.
No, it's throat cancer.
But I remember him saying,
Schultz did a joke about it,
where he said,
like in the 80s, believers die every day. Of
course they
ding dong.
Jesus died.
Yeah, that's a good point. Thank you. Someone
he
clip
said
this and send it to Schultz, please.
Clip it, Kirsten. I remember him saying, look, if I start preaching at the end about God and everything, I'm telling you, I've lost my mind, or it's the drugs or whatever.
Yeah.
It's not me having this come to Jesus, so to speak, meeting. And I found that interesting that he planted that seed before, and I don't know. I don't remember if he ever got
Maybe
there.
that's what's happening to me.
I wonder.
So, drove out here, listen to God Is Not Great, and listen to the game. So, something of a devilish pair to listen to. And then here's a fucking great
Additional
like
supply depots
flashback.
required.
Iron. So like 10 years later, my dad's dying. My dad's went to Catholic school, mass, raised all his kids Catholic, baptized, wedding, and he mentioned my dad had cancer. And he goes, I'm not fighting cancer, it's destroying me. I'm not. It's like I'm getting. And I go, oh, that's like a Christopher Hitchens. He said that. Oh yeah, I've read God's Not Great. I love it.
Why did that blow your mind?
Yeah, it was funny because he was going to mass every day and reading God Is Not Great, and it's one of those like cats in the cradle moments that if I still sorry, still didn't want. So drove out here. Atheist, and was an atheist from 07 to 2020.
This is pandemic.
Yeah.
Okay.
So pandemic. Friend sends me an article about ayahuasca. If this is going to be one of my ayahuasca podcasts.
I want to hear about it because I hear about it and
people. Yeah. I talk about it on Joe's on Rogan. I talk about it here and there, but. But whatever, we all do.
But I want you to pull the fucking LA stank off of it. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
like
yeah,
you hear
I'm happy
ayahuasca a lot, and then also
I mean,
like this, I know where we live and we're full of fucking loonies, but I really want to explore everything.
It's awful. Ayahuasca does suffer from, it's like crypto. Most of the people you heard about crypto from were absolutely ignorant. But a lot of douchebags said, I'm Rick Jamesovich. A lot of douchebags said, Schwing. A lot of douchebags said, my wife.
That's what she says.
Yeah, that's what she said. I'm not blaming The Office, Wayne's World. Oh yeah, baby.
Yeah.
I'm not blaming Mike Myers. I'm not blaming I'm not blaming any of these people for creating a thing that people said, because that doesn't make it actually it's like that even douchebags understood. Ayahuasca. So I get sent an article about it from a friend, and I'm like, all right. Someone had told me about it 5 years earlier.
Additional
I text
supply
him.
depots
He
required.
sends me a number. We arrange like a private at my buddy's house, and we do it.
Okay, so you're not going to South America
No.
with a shaman or
No.
any of these stuff.
This guy is technically a shaman. I've come to call him a rickety shaman because he's my buddy was like little
Insufficient
Starbucks.
Vespine gas.
Like there was he was white. He was like a white hippie, and like, hey, want to work out? Oh, hi, like yeah. My experience that time, the first time, was great. It was very pleasant. I said that it was like you drink half an ounce, like little plastic shot glass, like rinse your mouth out, like one of those little glasses. And then we all just laid there, candlelight music, it was very nice music, and my experience was, I told somebody it was like the go to check in, when you go in your room in the hotel, that video was on, like, welcome to the Radisson. It was that, but for like, welcome to ayahuasca. And it was like wide shots of for like an hour in my mind. Just like drone shots of pine trees. Okay. Then I cried probably for 2 hours about humanity, which I would get before again. And like crying to the point where my nostrils are so they're so inflamed, but no offense getting in. Just like you can't. It's just it's bumping them up.
And you're in the same room with the other two.
I'm in the same room with
you
4
crying?
of my friends, 5 of my friends. Yeah.
Does that influence them? Or is anything they're doing or feeling influence that you're hearing, whether they're laughing or crying? Or are you literally like locked in and going through your own
You
journey?
can't. Your hands are full. You're not like one. I mean, truthfully, they offered a second cup. I didn't take it. One of my friends did take the second cup, and so we were all kind of wrapping up. She took the second cup because the first cup didn't do anything, and she went far off to the point where I believe she got a little possessed. I saw some possessions later. We'll get to that.
Can we take one step backwards and just tell us, me especially, what actually is ayahuasca?
It is
it a root?
2
What is it?
different leaves and roots. It's a
2 different.
bee
Okay.
cappy is one is one of the names, and it's 2 different leaves.
Okay.
Leaves from.
And is it naturally grown, like shrooms or whatever?
It grows in the Amazon, but the crazy part is they grow far from each other. The lore of it is, 1,000 years ago, the plant itself told indigenous people how to cook it. Now, look, I know how that sounds. Look, guys, I'm coming to this.
Sounds no different
I'm
than
more
taking
cynical.
a rib out of a man and making a woman to it.
Now that's absurd. Now, plants talk. That's right on time. Yeah, so I get how insane that is. Having done it, I buy it 98%. I hear you, okay?
I appreciate the 2, though.
Yep.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, I'll leave
Thank
it a
you.
little something.
The angel share, as they call it, is whiskey.
Okay. Shout out to Whiskey Ginger, guys. WhiskeyGinger.com. Andrew Santino. So one of my friends, I believe, that ceremony purged. They call it purged his mother's hatred of him. You purge up things. You purge up notions. You purge up beliefs.
Not just thoughts. Some people do have a physical reaction.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're thinking it as you vomit. It happened to me once, and it's pretty wild.
But does it feel like a toxin? Or
I purged an apology. Again, just remember how cynical I am. Just go watch Tapes from 2019. Tape. You got tapes? Go to your VHS or betas. That's what I like about it. It's like I'm so known for cynicism that it's like, okay, this got me.
what was your apology?
For what humans have done to the earth. I apologize for it. It was my personal apology for it. I've had friends purge up all the things. So one of my friends got possessed. The spirits were telling her to masturbate in front of us, like pretty heavy shit, right? One of the other spirits told her that me and my friend were trying to assault her, just like she was possessed. It wasn't based on any kind of reality. And we're all just sitting there talking. She's still in it. So that was the first time I did it. And it was like, all right, that was good, right?
How long does it last?
That lasted 3.5 hours. Hers lasted about 7.
Oh, okay. So
7,
that's
8.
what I thought was more of this. But this,
Well, because she had 2 cups, the rest of us just had 1.
I see.
So, based on that, private, I get in touch with another friend who told me about it 5 years earlier, and I'm like, hey, I had a good experience, and she tried to give me circle out here with a bunch of people that do it pretty regularly. It's very ceremonious. And so she puts me in touch with them, and I schedule a weekend to go. And I get there, a couple of my friends come with me, and do you remember Real Sex on HBO? Of course you do. Remember where they do these field pieces, these videotape pieces of, what do you call videotapes? Pieces where they go like, we're going to a swingers colony, and it was people unlike any you'd ever met in life. This was like that. When me and my friend walked in, I go, Real Sex, take 12. But the hippie Lilith Fair version, white, flowing, like kind of a cult looking.
Yeah, I was gonna say it sounds cool.
Yeah, it was super cult. You have to wear white. That's what they do in Peru, because Peru they do it in total darkness, so you wear white so people can see you. Okay. So they using their ceremonial practices, they bring up whatever.
I mean, I feel like this is relatively new for people here, at least in the States.
Square.
But how?
I've been doing this over 2 years.
2 years. How long does this go back? Does this go back to like the Incas?
Yeah. When they talk about the medicine man, that's who they're talking about. They're talking about, they call it medicine because that guy would do it and speak to the spirit world. Right.
This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp. When you're at your best, you can do great things, but sometimes life gets you bogged down and you might feel overwhelmed, you might feel burnt out. Therapists are trained to help you figure out the cause of challenging emotions and learn productive coping skills so you can get closer to the best version of you. All right, you know how much I believe in therapy. This is a therapeutic podcast for a lot of people. I think it's important to not just exercise your physical muscles, but your mind, your emotions. Therapy empowers you. It helps you set boundaries, which is something I'm really still learning how to do. So there's no negative in therapy at all. So if you're thinking of giving therapy a try, then BetterHelp is a great option. It's convenient, it's flexible, affordable, and it's entirely online. So you just fill out this brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist. You can always switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. All right, so if you want to live a more empowered life, therapy can get you there. Visit BetterHelp.com/honeydew today. 10% off your first month. All right, that's BetterHelp. BetterHelp.com/honeydew. Try it free for 30 days. That's enough time to try and completely forget about a subscription or a service. Before you know it, you're paying for a subscription you don't use every single month. With Rocket Money, you can change that with a few quick taps. Rocket Money, formerly known as Truebill, is a personal finance app that finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions. It monitors your spending and it helps you lower your bills all in one place. Over 80% of people have subscriptions they forget about, like that streaming service you bought just to watch the one show, or that free trial that you never even used. Rocket Money will quickly and easily identify your subscriptions for you so you can stop paying for the one you don't want. You simply find the subscription you don't want, you press cancel, and boom, Rocket Money will cancel it. No more long hold time for customer service or emailing back and forth. Over 3 million people have used Rocket Money, saving the average person over $720 a year, and that is a lot of money. I personally do the same thing. Like I'll sign up for Showtime because I want to watch the Georgia Tan, right? Which I did. And then I'm like, man, other than boxing, Showtime doesn't really have anything I want right now. And then you forget, right? Boom, it's another $12 a month or whatever. It all adds up. I know it. So stop throwing your money away, cancel unwanted subscriptions, and manage your expenses the easy way by going to rocketmoney.com/honeydew. That's rocketmoney.com/honeydew. rocketmoney.com/honey. Now, let's get back to it. First night, I drink, and it's just, I have a cup, have another cup, nothing happens. And do this thing called Pompe, where they blow, I call it jungle cocaine. They blow, they stick a pipe in your nostril and blow sacred ash, like sacred tobacco ash, like actual tobacco, like good tobacco from the Amazon, like not processed fucking garbage. Fucking skull.
You're not getting
fucking.
No.
Yeah.
And it's like blessed or something or special in some way. And they go like, and it's like you have to close your throat, and it's the worst thing I've ever felt. It felt like I was getting waterboarded with sand.
Oh,
It's
fuck.
like rocks in your head.
Yeah.
A lot of people get it. It's like a turbo button. You get. It helps the ayahuasca. Like it's like a. You get like 10 times the ayahuasca for 10 minutes, whatever. It's like a. It's like the mushroom in Mario, basically.
God.
And enough little reference. Betamax, Mario, videotape. And I drove my skip up to the ceremony.
Yeah.
Nothing more right there.
Even that.
No, I'm just
But now
nauseous.
you're just annoyed.
I'm nauseous,
Feeling
and
great.
not only am I annoyed, people are doing the thing of like, you may have a block that you're, and I'm like, and I literally was like, you gotta stop. I've already done it. It's worked for me. And then second night, they changed the formula a little bit of amount they were giving me, and like, there you go.
So you stayed overnight?
Yeah.
Intentionally originally, or
Yeah,
because
that's
it wasn't working?
Yeah, no, that's how it worked.
But the other one was not an overnight.
No.
The first one
It was
Okay.
a one night. It's a one night.
But the cult, where do you sleep at the cult place?
On the floor in a basically a finished garage. That's the thing. It's just like, this isn't glamorous. It's hippie-ish, but also nuh-uh. There's like, I'm just in a sleeping bag next to some dude and some lady. It's not, and they're not especially cool, especially glamorous, especially like they're just really regular, like fucking regular, and which is great because you're all kind of you all want the same thing, which is some sort of connection. Like you just want a connection to some purpose or some guidance or something.
It's interesting that everybody's literally laying on a floor and everyone's on the same level. You know, no matter
Yeah.
who you are, you're looking for answers and a connection and hoping you can find it through this process.
Yeah. And Theo's gone. Roy Wood's gone. Nicole Schreiber's gone. People we know. Like, Theo's gone more than once.
I'd like to try it. I'm almost skeptic and scared. A little
Yeah,
bit of 50-50
it's
for
I
me.
mean, dude,
there's
it's
always fear in
It's
my
only
shit.
going to get scarier,
Yeah.
this story. Just
Great.
FYI.
Right.
It gets significantly worse. And second night, I'm like, I just hit me, and I was fucking ecstatic, like just like beaming.
Now, can I ask you? I'm so curious.
Great.
Is it a familiar feeling like you felt before? Is it different, better? Is it? What are you feeling now?
It is.
Like there it is. I know
It's
this
maybe
feeling.
the longest sustained period of joy I've ever felt.
Wow. Okay.
Hour and a half, 2 hours, 3 hours. Wow. And then, same night, I believe, 2 hours of crying over friendship to the point where I thought when I turned my phone on, the friend was going to be dead. Like, that's the level of just crying. But it wasn't, that was also nice. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it was beautiful. It's like a connected friendship. So at a certain point, there in this ceremony that I do it, in the circle I do it at, there's two different religious
Additional supply depots required.
sort of like he's pulling from two different religious ceremonies. One's called Umbanda, which is a Afro-Caribbean religion from like yeah, I believe it's around 8,000. And another one called Santa Daime, where 100 years ago, a guy kind of cool thing. Hip-hop wise, kind of cool. And by the way, the guys is like 6'9" and looks like he's friends with Bill Russell. That's the only way I can explain it. Let me show you the picture.
I think there's a Bill Russell doc getting ready to come out on Netflix or
Bill,
something.
do you ever read his book? Great.
I will
Second
now.
Land. All right, great. This
Oh, holy shit.
6'9".
Yeah, 6'9". Yeah.
And this is from like 19.
That's also a face that looks like it's seen some
Yeah,
shit,
he's seen
too.
some shit.
Yeah.
He would drink gallons. So anyway, I don't even know if he did Iowa. He's walking through the forest, and two, like, we'll call them wood nymphs, appear to him and say, hey, you gotta spread the word about ayahuasca. And he's like, how? And they go, make a religion. He goes, it's Brazil. It's like, everything's Catholic. And they go, make it look Catholic. So, it's called Santo Daime, and they have, like, crucifixes, but with two beams. It literally looks like the Marx Brothers were like, the cops are coming, we gotta make a religion. It's like a Star of David, sort of. It's so goddamn funny from like a comedy writing point of view.
When you look at it,
You're like, oh my god, they'll never suspect. So, and the music's super cool, whatever. So in the ceremony, we do some Santo Daime dances. There's some, again, dude, there's a thing called the Celestial Court. They open up the room to spirits. Long story short, I open my eyes in the middle of this, and I go, oh, I'm in the presence of God right now.
that's when it hits you.
Yep. Like, I can't explain it any other way. I'm in the presence of God.
Do you have a
I said it
physical
was like
feeling
the
over it?
end of Raiders of the Lost Ark before the faces melt.
Okay, I remember.
When they open the Ark and they, yeah.
Beautiful moment
Beautiful.
before
It's literally
hell
so. The only dialogue is "It's beautiful." That's
Okay.
also what it was like that, and no faces. So I was just like, all right, this is the first. This is what they said church was.
But are you
and it just
seeing
wasn't.
it? Are you seeing
Feeling
things?
it.
Okay.
I'm pretty like.
You're present with eyes open. You're feeling everything.
Yes, I'm present with eyes open, but it's like they're a little watery. Like I had a cloth, but I'm still conscious. I'm still blissful. I'm still comfortable with my friend. Like I'm in this emotional thing. And again, I go ahead and poke holes in it. I can find the same thing.
What's your experience?
Right.
The person
My
next to you
experience.
could have a completely different one in the same room on the same
Yeah.
drug.
And a weird thing, like my friend came and she was like rolling her eyes the whole time, like this is so stupid, this is so corny. And everyone doesn't share after each ceremony. And when people share, it's like, oh no, I have art fire, concentration camp, and my friend starts crying. She did the same thing.
The skeptical friend.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what made it change.
Yeah, so
Oh.
she was like, oh. And like a third woman also. Just like weird shit that you can't. I have a crazy story that I don't want to forget, but I don't want to tell it yet. So I'm gonna preview it. So anyhow, I'm like, all right, I'm in the presence of God. I don't know how I now, not only do I believe it, I'm experiencing it. It wasn't like, oh, there was no light. There was just like, this is just, I don't know.
Understanding.
Yeah, more like,
But it had to be powerful for you to go from all this Catholic school,
Yeah.
13 or 12 years,
to
plus-
overcome like the fuck you of that,
Right.
like
And then
never
go back.
again, and then be like, oh, if this had happened, I never leave. All of that was just like a game of telephone. That's what I think now. Based on my experience, that's a game of telephone. There is a central creation force, but that's about the only thing right to me. Now, having said that, in this circle, in the celestial court, there's an altar, and it's got this big crucifix. It's got the floating crucifix. It's got a Buddha. It's got Jesus. It's got Virgin Mary. It's got Archangel. Again, something that I barely remember from Catholic school, but like whatever. He's big in this.
He's getting
Again,
shy
and
in
then
this
there's
one.
and then there's Umbanda candles, and there's gods called Orishas, and they all have different names, and they represent the sea, and the, like just kind of Greekish, for lack of a better word. Kendrick Lamar references them, not this record, but the record before.
Okay.
What's the name? I can't remember the name of it, but it sounds like
Insufficient
Metatron.
Vespene gas.
That's one of the Ori shot that he references in the index. But it's not. So I know what you're thinking, and it's not a sample. It's an Umbanda deal that I have no information on other than like I know that they exist, and that's all I know.
And this, you're drinking a liquid, so are they like boiling it? Is it like a tea?
They boil it at some point up the stream. It's not hot. Like by the time it gets to like full America, it's not legal, so they have to like transport it somewhere with. So that's my first weekend, and I'm
wait,
like,
let's go back.
Yeah.
I don't want to just gloss over that. You're
I got
feeling God.
10 points.
You're feeling God for the first time in quite a while. Since
Yeah,
you
like
left.
genuinely, like the way you go, I'm in love, and then you're actually in love. You're like, oh, this is love. That other thing was just some fake shit to get a girl to fuck me.
All right. So, are you
I'm just trying to get God to fuck me.
are you happy with
Additional
it? Are
supply
you scared
depots
of it? Like,
required.
where are you
At this point,
at that
I'm
moment?
like, I literally
First,
was like,
holy shit,
I'm
it's real.
gonna. Well, the first night I drank it, I stood up, and the first night with all my friends and the other one, I was like, I'm gonna be a fucking zealot for this. Like, I literally, an hour in, I was like, this is insane. Because it was mushrooms. Mushrooms, you'll have like 5 funny thoughts in a minute, right? Like, this was like, you know, like, I was laughing, like, wow, I literally said, wow, this is wild. You know, what's happening? Okay, so, I've done the circle, right? I did it with the people in this sort of ceremony. Now, you're not going to believe this, but some of the people in the circle had some ideas about COVID. And maybe some of them had some conspiracy theories. And maybe people weren't wearing masks in the fall of 2020. And maybe we left Sunday, and on Tuesday someone tested positive. And I was like, guys, could we test? They were kind of like, nah. So, I then went back to the original Ricky Shaman for a private with
A one-on-one.
me, Ian Edwards, and my friend Catherine, who had the barbed wire. And that's where I drank. Well, you don't know the story. So we're just doing it, and again, nothing's working. Catherine's, it's hitting her, and it's hitting Ian. Nothing's working. And I'm like, so I've had like 3 cups. I'm like, should I have like a 4th? And the guy's like, let's see your poop. It's like, okay. 4th. And Catherine had been having a hard time. She was just like, eyes closed, like going, and she literally was like, God, this is fucking taking a long time. She was just like not in good shape. And Ian was doing great. And my 4th cup, it's the oldest drugstore in the world. Like, look, it doesn't work, let me get more whoopsies. And it was one of the great whoopsies of my life.
This is your 3rd time ever anyway, right? This
4th night. Okay.
Additional supply depots required.
And
Additional supply depots
it
required.
hits me. I start seeing like watery, my eyes are water spot. It's like, it's kind of churchy in that, you know how like a
Insufficient
scrim will
Vespene
come
gas.
in confession, there's like a scrim. It was as if
Insufficient
there was a
Vespene
scrim,
gas.
but of like rattlesnakes. Right? And I'm getting hot. I then heard my apology for climate change. And then something that my good shaman refers to, brain dissolution happened, mind dissolution, where I think the word what, and my brain goes, and I'm like, hours. And I'm literally going, I'm gonna be a fucking to the point where I mean, it was so So
Additional supply depots
yes,
required.
and I was like, to the point where I was so lost that I was going. This is how I knew. I should have known that I was in there because I kept thinking, if you're just joining us, what is anything?
You're saying that?
I'm thinking that.
Oh, thank you.
Like in the tone of if you're just joining us, I'm like, what is anything? What is any? I didn't know.
It's a great question.
It's a great question.
It is. It really is.
Now, okay, so I'm in world. What is anything? Then I get thrust to outer space by myself.
Is it silent then?
Yeah, well, couldn't be quiet.
So the what's have stopped in outer space.
I'm just really overloaded.
And are you like out there
By myself,
not in a ship or out?
by myself, and the universe died.
So what happens if you're in outer space?
Saturn, babies, rivers, black holes, electricity. Top to bottom, nebula, galaxy.
Seeing this shit.
I'm feeling like
I get that.
we're shut down. And I'm by myself, and I started breathing. It's like a yoga breathing called samadhi breathing. And I didn't know how long I did it. Ian told me recently I did it for several hours. And the reason I did it was as a beacon in space.
To help someone find you.
Yep. If someone got within 3 feet of me, they could have heard me.
I love it. I love it. You're conscious enough to
I'm not going out. Yeah, I'm not going out like with nothing. I'm not just gonna go out. I'm just gonna be and so that ends, right? I can show you a photo of the next morning. Cause I was on my back and I got mad at the shaman because I was like, dude, I was in really bad. Like, well, as a hormone.
music. That's
Yeah.
what they have, actually.
Not DMT, we'll get to that. I can tell you that you were never in danger. Which is like, I don't know if you can tell me that, sire. But you'll see how I vomited, and it's not a great way to vomit. You'll see it on my shirt.
So while you were laying there, you also, when you actually purged, you threw up on yourself?
Yeah. And I don't know.
Not enough minerals. Insufficient rescue gas.
I don't know either. It looks like a fucking.
Yeah, send that to us. Yeah, for real. That is, it's a fucking interesting pattern.
Yeah. So, and not an insubstantial amount of.
That's a lot of
yeah,
but not to be just,
2 streams.
yeah.
So
Nostrils.
no, it was purge. That's what purge was. Anyhow, so that's the next morning. I like kind of. Ian said, I think you're gonna be okay. I think you're gonna be okay. I can't explain like whatever's going on.
Damn, what?
I was fucking.
What game I did, dude. That was fucking awesome. What a game right there, dude. Well, they all have bad win rates, but he defeated his shit. Must have had some gas or something. What did he do? Nope. Didn't. What the Yeah, he kind of did end this thing going out. Damn, no. Okay, good value. Damn, he didn't have any tanks. Yeah, they're kind of bad, but fucking so proud of that Kings, man. Damn, that guy's income. Holy shit, this guy's income. But they did not have max SS. We had 10,000 SS, and that took us. Well, they were like close to max. They were like one away. It looks like, I don't know. Damn, bro. Good thing we won it right there. I'll tell you what. Pull off. Oh, the Dark Patrols was clutch, bro. Wow. Kinda clutch. What a game, bro. I can't beat that one. Yeah, I think I'm gonna study for a little bit and call it a night. Sleep well, y'all.